everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing well, staying safe, and doing the best that you can do during this time. So, I know it's been a while since I did a video. To maybe 3 weeks ago, I made some yeast water. Okay, wait a minute, my glasses feel crooked. Okay, I made yeast water. Okay, that you can actually bake with. And so I was thinking, well, I made that video some time ago, and I really haven't made a video to show how to use it. But before I show you how to use it, I just want to come and to all my sisters, my young sisters who never bake bread and don't know how to bake bread. It's bread you go in the store and you buy, okay? This is for them. So now if you are bed breakers, you've been doing it for a while, and then this one is not for you. You know, if you just want to watch, you know, you can watch. And yeah, this is just going to be a little simple video on bread baking 101, okay? That's what I'm calling it, bread baking 101. And what I'm going to do is to go over some of what you will need to get started baking your bread. Okay, now, as you can see, I have a line of flours here. I have standard good old, starting from the right, good old all-purpose unbleached flour. Then in the middle you have bread flour, and then you have self-rising flour, okay? And I even, just for show, have a few non-gluten flours, okay, gluten-free. Like this is cassava flour, I have almond flour, and I have, this is a little bit left, garbanzo beans or chickpea flour. Okay, these I'm going to talk about on a later date, because these are very important to know about for all your gluten-free family members who can't eat regular flour or bread made with regular flour. We will discuss these later. I just wanted to bring them up here so you can see them. Okay, now we have all these flours. Well, not all, these 3 flours, I should say. And most people who bake knows about these, you know, the flours. Okay, your bread flour, your self-rising flour. Okay, self-rising flour is supposed to be the best for making like biscuits and things like that, and pancakes. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all about that, okay? I think my biscuits come out better when I use plain all-purpose flour. Okay, reason being, okay, first let me explain. Self-rising flour already has the baking soda and salt and all that already in it. It's already in it, so you don't have to add to it, okay? Now, bread flour, this is designed to bake bread. You know, it's got a higher protein content in it, you know, for a good, decent bread. All right, now, all-purpose flour is just what they say, all-purpose. This can be used for everything. Okay, now, and this is the one we're going to focus on, because like I said, this is for all my newbies who never bake bread and scared to even try it. But it's not that hard, y'all. It is simple. Okay, and like I was saying, self-rising to make biscuits, but like I said, I find that I do better using my own baking powder, adding my own salt, doing my own thing with just a regular all-purpose flour, because this is what I learned how to bake with. You know, we didn't do all this bougie stuff where I came from, and my grandmother baked with just plain old all-purpose flour, and she made the bomb diggity rolls, the best rolls you ever wanted to taste. You know, so anyway, like I was saying, baking bread is not that hard. Yes, there is a kind of science to it, because, you know, with the measurements and all that kind of stuff, but it's really not that hard, okay? So I'm gonna move this out the way, and we'll discuss all these two later, all right? What they do, what they got in them, you know, the different content level. And we're going to speak on all-purpose flour, okay? Unbleached all-purpose flour. That's your best bet. And if you can get it organic, that's even better, okay? This one is not. This is all they had at the time, because y'all know with this pandemic, they didn't have nothing, okay? So you have to be able to use what you can find. If all they got is bleach flour, then get it and use it, you know, because there's coming a day soon, y'all, we really ain't gonna have too much choices. And as far as this bread flour and this self-rising flour, we're not gonna have that. Now we might, oh, that's my dryer. We might have be able to get all-purpose. Now, if you load up on this now, store it, you'll have it. Okay, like I said, this is my go-to because this is what I learned how to bake with. Now, if I'm gonna make biscuits, of course you use your baking soda. I mean, you can use, well, baking powder and baking soda. Some people use both. And with my little salt shaker, you use a little bit of salt, and then that's your biscuits. It depends on what kind you're making. If you're making buttermilk biscuits, you're using your buttermilk. If you're just using and butter, if you're just using a standard biscuit, you're just using your maybe butter. Some people still bake with shortening. You know, I haven't baked with shortening I don't know how long, but you know, hey, there's coming a time we might have to go back to that too. Who knows? But anyway, so like even baking bread, I haven't really ever used bread flour before. I bought this so I can go try it, okay? Like I said, I'm old school. This is what we use. All right. In baking bread, I'm not going to go too deep into it. Hold on, let me get something. You know I always forget something. We're going to be talking a little bit about yeast, okay? Okay. This is the yeast water that I made my last video, okay? Homemade. Yes, you can bake anything with this. You can bake with regular yeast, okay? You have what's called active dry yeast, and then you have what's called rapid rise. All right. The only difference, now this is good for bread machines, but we ain't talking about bread machines, but you can use it without a bread machine. The only difference is maybe 20 minutes in your rising time, not very much. I just use the active yeast. I got this because they had it. I said I might as well put it in my arsenal. I might as well have it, okay, along with my yeast water. Now, yeast water I made, that was my last video, so if you want to learn how to make this, just go to the video and watch it. Okay, now, and the next thing you could have too is sourdough. But I don't have no sourdough starter because I didn't make none. I haven't made any, and this is just a decide to do at the last minute video. Okay, so we're talking about flour. We're talking about yeast with your flour, okay? Yeast water and what you put in it. Okay, the bread, you can make quick breads. That's like banana bread and carrot bread and all those kind of little breads that you don't need yeast. You know, you don't need yeast. You just use like the baking powder and baking soda and all that kind of stuff. Okay, now, I just wanted to introduce you guys to what you need. You do not need anything fancy. And like a lot of people, when you make bread, you need your dough and stuff. They might use a stand mixer need. I don't do all that because one day we're not going to have no electricity to plug in no stand mixer. So I try to teach everything but manually. So we know how to do it manually. Okay. Now, this is going to be the first part of this baking 101, baking bread 101. And the next video, I'm going to go into the difference between yeast and baking powder, okay? Because there is a big difference, okay? Now, I want to say this while it's on my mind, speaking of yeast, okay? Like when we get around to Pesach, Passover, okay? And every year, that list gets longer and longer and longer and longer. You can't have this. You can't have that. It got yeast and it got leavening in it. Well, when the Most High Yah said unleavened bread, me personally, from what I understand, what I read and other people read, he meant just that, unleavened bread. Because y'all, yeast is in everything. Everything. Yeast is on fruit, it's on apples, it's on grapes, it's on berries, it's on everything. It's in wild, it's in the air. You cannot help but eat yeast, wild yeast. Because I'm gonna give you an experiment to do. Take some flour and water, mix it up, set it out on your cabinet or your counter overnight. If you have to, you can cover it. Then when you get up, uncover it, look at it, and then tell me what you see. You're going to see bubbles. Because yeast have went into the flour, wild yeast, and started fermenting it. Okay? It started fermenting it. So, yeast is just wild. All right? You leave a great... Okay, let me tell you a little story about, because I come from California, and we know that wine country, you know, is in California. I know a lot of places have wineries too, but it's big. Now, it's bigger there, I should say. Now, the story is this man used to watch these birds, you know, after harvest, there were grapes still left on the vines, and the birds would go over there and eat the grapes, and next thing you know, they would fall over. They discovered that the birds were getting drunk off the grapes that were left on the vine, because why? They started fermenting. So, yeast is in everything. You can't not eat yeast. It's in everything. So, stick to what the scripture says. Stop adding stuff, and we'll be okay. Now, I know I'm gonna get some pushback with that, but hey, that's okay. Bring it on. All right, now, like I said, next we're gonna talk about the difference between yeast and baking powder and their effects. And if you don't want to use yeast, if you just want to make a, I forget the name of the bread, a quick bread is what they call it. You know, you can, but you know, it's nothing like a good yeast bread. But you can also use your homemade yeast if you don't want to use packaged yeast. Because a lot of people are now turning to making yeast water and sourdoughs. You know, trying to get away from this, because there is coming a day when we're not going to be able to get this either. So anyway, that's what I wanted to come and do. Talk about baking bread 101. And like I said, the next video, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or the next day, but the next video, like I said, we're going to talk about the difference between these two. And I think then, y'all, when I do that video, have pen and pencil, or take notes, or use your notepad on your phone and whatever, because there is some scientific stuff that goes into this. You know, so, and a little bit of math too when you're measuring and all that kind of stuff. So, with that, I'm going to say, if this is the first time you've watched any of my videos, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. I'm going to ask you to hit that notification bell, so when I put up content, you will know that my video is up. And I'm going to ask y'all to give me a thumbs up, so the algorithms will work for me. You know, give it a thumbs up, share. If you know a little sister who don't know how to bake bread, don't know how to bake, period, then share. Okay, because not only will we probably talk about bread baking, but we'll go into cakes and crust and all that kind of stuff too. So, okay, y'all, remember, subscribe, thumbs up, and share. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.